How does a man who presided over 6 corporate bankruptcies, who was twice impeached, and became the first former president convicted of a felony, not just survive, but ascend to the presidency twice? The media, his rivals, the world, they all keep asking the same question, and they all keep looking in the wrong place. Donald Trump's rise wasn't a political anomaly. It wasn't a business success story, and it didn't start in 2015. It's a 3-generation story of a brand built to be indestructible. A story where perception isn't just part of the reality, it is the reality. To understand how we got here, you have to understand the hidden family blueprint. The official myth, the one Donald Trump presented for decades, is of a self-made titan who turned a small loan into a global empire. The records tell a different story. It's not a story about a small loan. It's a story about systematic, inherited wealth, starting in 1885. The family fortune began with Donald's grandfather, Friedrich Trump, during the Klondike Gold Rush. But Friedrich wasn't mining for gold, he was mining the miners. He set up a hotel that also functioned as a brothel, servicing the ambitions of others. It was a foundational pattern, identifying a high-risk environment and extract profit. But it was Donald's father, Fred Trump, who built the empire. Not in glittering Manhattan, but in the outer boroughs of Queens and Brooklyn. Fred became the Henry Ford of the home building industry. But his success wasn't just private enterprise. It was heavily dependent on government subsidies. Fred became an expert at leveraging public funds, building over 27,000 apartments using Federal Housing Administration loans. He also became an expert at profiteering from them. He was investigated by a US Senate committee in 1954 and a New York State investigation in 1966 for enriching himself by overestimating his building costs on state-backed projects. This was the real family blueprint. Leverage public programs for private enrichment. It was a model of hidden wealth transfer. A 2018 Pulitzer Prize-winning investigation revealed that Donald Trump received the equivalent of at least $413 million from his father's empire. This wasn't just a loan. He was a millionaire by the age of 8. His father gave him direct loans and bailouts, including an illegal $3 million casino chip purchase to cover a debt payment. They even created a shell corporation, All County Building Supply, to siphon millions in untaxed gifts to Donald and his siblings by marking up the cost of supplies for his father's buildings. The small loan wasn't a loan, it was a gusher, and it gave Donald the capital to do something his cautious father never would: conquer Manhattan. Armed with his family's money, Donald Trump set out to build his own brand. His first major deal, the Commodore Hotel, became his operational playbook. In 1976, New York City was on the verge of bankruptcy. The Commodore was a failing hotel. Trump saw the opportunity, but his most crucial asset wasn't capital. It was his father's political connections to the city's democratic machine. A key figure in the deal recalled a meeting where Major Abe Beame put his arm around Fred and Donald Trump and declared, anything they want, they get. What they got was an unprecedented 40-year tax abatement, the first ever granted to a commercial property. It was a sweetheart deal that ultimately cost the city over $410 million in foregone revenue. To build it, he had to demolish the iconic Bonwit Teller building. He promised its historically significant Art Deco sculptures to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Instead, citing costs, his crews jackhammered them to pieces. The public was outraged, but Trump masterfully spun the negative press. He claimed the notoriety was a positive. stating, "We've gotten literally thousands of phone calls of people wanting to move into that building." He understood, earlier than most, that any publicity, even negative, could be converted into brand awareness. With his brand established, he released his 1987 blockbuster, The Art of the Deal. The book cemented his persona as a master negotiator. There was just one problem. He didn't write it. The ghostwriter, Tony Schwartz, later admitted he wrote none of the book, and that his job was to put lipstick on a pig, crafting a narrative that made Trump more appealing and coherent than he was in reality. The book's most famous concept was truthful hyperbole. Schwartz now calls this a simpleton. It's a lie, but who cares? The myth was now complete, and he began testing it on a national stage.
When I see a total ripoff of this country by Japan, where they literally have no defense budget, where we have to borrow money from them in order to get them oil and defend the Persian Gulf, where most of the oil goes to Japan and other countries, not us. We get 4% of our oil. When I see Kuwait, a total ripoff, we're bringing the Bridgeton. You remember the Bridgeton? Their oil minister sat back and he laughed at how much money he's going to make. Why aren't we getting some of that money? Why aren't we getting it?
He was already railing against allies like Japan and Saudi Arabia for ripping off the United States. These weren't just celebrity chats, they were trial balloons for a political message. The blueprint for 2016 was being laid 3 decades in advance. But as the 1980s ended, the brand was about to collide with reality. The gilded success gave way to a period of profound financial turmoil. Trump stormed Atlantic City, accumulating a staggering amount of debt. To complete the Taj Mahal, he financed it with high-interest junk bonds. Analysts warned before it even opened that it was doomed, needing to make $1.3 million a day just to service its debt, a sum no casino had ever achieved. They were right. Between 1991 and 2014, Trump's hotel and casino companies filed for corporate bankruptcy 6 times. But here is the most important part of the story. Whilst companies repeatedly failed, Donald Trump himself never declared personal bankruptcy. He had masterfully used corporate bankruptcy to shield his personal wealth. He put up little of his own money, shifted personal debts onto the casinos, and continued to collect millions in salaries and bonuses. The financial burden fell on investors, stockholders, and the scores of local contractors and suppliers who were left unpaid, some of whom were forced into bankruptcy themselves. By the early 2000s, his brand should have been toxic. He was a twice bankrupt casino operator. He was a failure. But then, he was given the ultimate lifeline. The Apprentice wasn't just a career revival, it was a mechanism that laundered his business reputation. The first season finale drew an astonishing 28.1 million viewers, and for 14 seasons, the show presented a carefully curated, highly fictionalized image of Donald Trump. He was no longer a failed casino operator. He was America's boss. This persona, broadcast into millions of homes, was far more powerful than the reality of his recent business failures. A 2019 study confirmed the show gave Trump the public credibility necessary to secure an advantage in the Republican nomination in 2016. It built a one-sided parasocial bond with a vast audience of future voters. It didn't matter that his businesses were crumbling. On TV, he was a winner, and he used that new brand power to pivot his entire business model. He shifted from risky development to high-reward brand licensing. Why build a hotel when you can just sell your name to one? This new model allowed him to collect revenue without ever investing a dime into the actual projects, shielding him from all financial liability. The brand, resurrected by reality TV, was now the only product that mattered. On June 16, 2015, Donald Trump descended a golden escalator at Trump Tower. His presidential campaign was the ultimate application of his life's work in branding.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some I assume are good people.
His inflammatory statements, honed over decades, were a feature, not a bug. They were designed to do one thing: dominate the media. And it worked. The campaign garnered an estimated $2 billion in free media coverage. His rallies became a spectacle that cable news covered live, allowing him to bypass traditional advertising. But the visible spectacle was powered by a hidden engine, a revolutionary digital operation led by Bad Parscale. The campaign built a database codenamed Project Alamo, containing the identities of 220 million Americans. Partnering with Cambridge Analytica, they used psychographic profiling to target voters with stunning perception. The campaign deployed over 100,000 unique ads on Facebook. This included dark posts, non-public ads shown only to specific users. These posts weren't just for mobilizing his base, they were designed to suppress turnout among key Hillary Clinton demographics, including idealistic white liberals, young women, and African Americans. It was a hostile takeover of the Republican Party, and it worked. On November 8, 2016, he lost the popular vote by nearly 2.9 million. But he won the Electoral College by breaching the Blue Wall, the industrial heartland states of Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. His combined margin of victory across all three states? A mere 77,744 votes. A political earthquake decided by the thinnest of margins. The brand had defeated the political machine. The trajectory of Donald Trump is a story that challenges the core myths of American success. It's not a tale of a self-made man. It's the story of a dynasty's third generation inheriting a fortune built on government subsidies and suspect tax schemes. His career is not a testament to business acumen. It's a case study in media manipulation, where the perception of success proved more profitable than the reality of his enterprises. From Friedrich mining the miners in the Klondike, to Fred mining the FHA in Queens, to Donald leveraging public subsidies in Manhattan and laundering his reputation on national television. His political career is the final logical step. He treated the electorate as a consumer market, identified a disaffected demographic, and sold them a powerful, simple brand: Make America Great Again. He understood, earlier and more intuitively than anyone, that in a media-saturated age, the narrative is the reality, and the most valuable asset of all is the brand. Thank you for staying with us through this deep dive. This project took immense effort to research and produce, and your support means everything. If you found this analysis insightful, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. It truly helps push our content further into the algorithm and allows us to continue telling these important stories.